let's talk about Nephilims and werewolves and vampires. So the Nephilim are what we would call ghosts. Now, there's no human ghost left on Earth. There isn't. No souls trapped here. There's no one up in heaven watching down at you and watching this world. I can't think of a worse hell than to be up in heaven looking down at us making all of the mistakes that we make, and in our personal lives and in the world, and being unable to communicate or talk to anybody or help anyone or anything like that, just to watch us in our chaos. I can't see that being heaven. I could see that being hell. And it actually talks about that being the actual hell in the Bible. The rapture happens, 3 years of hell on earth with the Antichrist, and then Jesus comes down, and then there's going to be 1,000 years of peace on earth before Judgment Day. And during that 1,000 years, Satan and all the fallen angels will be put into hell or prison of some kind, but they'll be able to watch us. But they won't watch us all fail and fall apart and all this other stuff. They're going to watch us succeed. At the end of the 1,000 years, there's another fall. And I don't know a lot about that second fall. Pretty sure that I don't know. I can't say that I'm sure about anything with that second fall. But that second fall happens, and then it's Judgment Day. So my thought on that is that the second fall, God will truly, that 1,000 years will be a true test for any of the people who make it to heaven or to the new earth. And it's not the new earth, because it's after the 1,000 years he's gonna, and then there's Judgment Day, and then he makes a brand new earth, brand new Eden, and then I think there's another 1,000 years or something like that, or who knows, could start all over. But that last 1,000 years, that's going to give any of the, because we're going to live for the entire 1,000 years, new bodies, or something. So during that 1,000 years, it's going to give us all the chance, without Satan's influence, to also slip up and prove ourselves one way or the other before actual Judgment Day. And it's also going to give us a beautiful chance to actually enjoy this world the way we were supposed to, and never got the chance to in our lives because of whatever circumstances stopped us, usually ourselves. I mean that by usually we let our own minds take us down because we don't understand. Jesus says that too. My people die for a lack of knowledge. So anyways, here's your ghosts. The Nephilim. We're trapped here, or we're about to be destroyed. And God said Satan could keep them as evil spirits trapped on earth. Evil spirits, they were created, and evil spirits, they will remain. And so he kills them all, but their energy or souls are still very much alive, and that's your ghost. When you think you're talking to your grampy, or you're channeling a Ouija board or whatever, you're being manipulated by an Nephilim every single time, no question. So that's what goes to her. Now, when you read the book of Lilith, there's two of them, but she rejects Adam because she sees him as a brother, not as a mate. And Adam didn't see her as a mate. He seen her as a sister because they were created simultaneously from the same stuff. And had Adam was created first and watched Eve be created. Or not Eve, Lilith. And he was ready to be with her because that was his destiny by God, but he didn't love her. And she wasn't even willing to be with him and ran away. And then God sends an angel to hunt her down, and she refuses to go. And God lets the angel let her go, but the angel says, well, 1,000 of your children will die every day. And she says, that's fine. Now, I don't know that she had found anybody to make children with at that time. But then when you get more about her in the book of Cain, and when Cain's cast out, see, Adam lives on a mountain in Eden, which is the throne of God at the North Pole. And you can go down, but you can't get back up. So when Cain's cast out, he's cast into the dark, into our world. And he's unable to see, and he's unable to do a lot of things. And he was dying. And Lilith finds him. And she gets him to drink her blood. She comes to him as a a hidden, in some kind of form. Lilith becomes a shapeshifter. So she could come as an old lady, or as a beautiful woman, or as a werewolf, or as a werecat, or as a were raccoon. Doesn't matter. And it's said that her children are the phantoms, or were things. And it says that they come in all shapes and forms. But usually they're not physical. Sometimes they have been, and people have been mauled, eaten by strange animals on certain roads, especially back in our past. And so other ones, people were just chased down by something, and most of them have an accident. They were in a horse and buggy or whatever, and most of them wipe out and panic. But the ones who didn't say that, like the wolf, the creature, chased them down and chased them down and chased them down, and then just as it was about to jump on them, it disappeared, kind of went through them, and but didn't have a physical body. It was just a vision. So I'm not sure if that's a Nephilim, or if that's that sounds more like a Nephilim to me. But then others have been reported to be, certain, and then we always passed it off in the history as, oh, well, it was just a big wolf, or it was a big bear, or it was a crazy lion, or, you know, whatever. But God put fear of man into all animals. So if an animal doesn't have fear of man, it's either because he was trained, because he was trained and raised by a man, which happens all the time, or people feed wild animals and get them to be more and more closer to them, and more tame, and then end up getting mauled to death. But but then there's certain, it happens quite often where we'll get, you know, a wolf pack, or a lion, a single lion. Usually it's not a pack of lions, but there's been packs of wolves that have eaten people, and then single wolves that have eaten people, where when they're an actual wolf, yes, they'll eat people. If you're like by yourself, lost in the woods, fucking looking really weak, like an easy target, yeah. But for the most part, they'll go after your horse, your dog, your anything else but a person. Then there's certain ones that only go after people. So those, I think, are the shapeshifters, personally. Anyway, so when Lilith saves Cain, she gets him to drink her blood for 3 days, and she cuts herself and feeds him, and then he gets put under her spell, and he's trapped, and it pretty sure she was like an old lady, and he's trapped with her, and he has to sleep with her and all this stuff, and she rules him, and she keeps giving him the blood. Then he outsmarts her at some point and gets out of the blood. But when she gave him the blood, it said that he gets the ability to see and go through the dark. And then there's reference to him biting people on the neck. And then later in the Apocrypha of the Jews, which is one of the removed books of the Bible, he talks about Esau when he meets Jacob on the road, and just there's the 3 waves of angels that are sent at him to threaten him and tell him not to, that they'll defend Jacob or whatever. And then when he meets him on the road, he asks him about that army and stuff, but he tries to bite his neck. And God turns Jacob's neck into ivory, and it hurts his teeth. I don't think it's a very normal thing to bite someone's neck. That's not what people do. You know, I could see cutting his head off or stabbing him or something to that effect, but why bite his neck? Now, you could say that Esau was just a psychopath, but I think there's more there. No, the story vampire that we get on television and the story werewolf we get on television, I don't think that's real. I don't think there's like a half-man werewolf or whatever. I think if a shapeshifter changes shape, they become an actual wolf. They look just like a wolf. They don't look like a half-man wolf. Same goes for vampires. I don't know about them flying or having superhuman strength or anything, but they can see in the dark, and they live in the dark. So did Lilith. They had to live in the dark from then on. So so it just seems like there's something more to vampires and werewolves than what we're told. And I think that they introduce them the way they do to us in order to get us to dismiss it. They make it such a fantasy that it's easily dismissed. And now in this day and age, a person that was maybe vampiric could easily blend because it's a trend. So people are getting fake teeth installed, the whole bit. So it's just they can live in the open now. I don't know about them not being able to go in daylight or whatever, but I know that they've been cursed to the dark, so that could be. The book of Lilith and the book of Cain were both very fascinating. The other book of Cain, that was more inspired by him and written probably by him or by a fan, talks about how when God refused, he says that he gave his best crop to God, which he didn't, and then God refused it. So he knew his only true sacrifice was that God wanted was his brother, and it broke his heart to do it, and blah blah. He makes God the bad guy. I could see that. I could see you convincing yourself of that very easily if you murdered your brother, and especially if you wanted to blame something else, God in particular. Yeah, you could easily come up with that story for yourself in order to justify your actions. Anyway, it was a very interesting study. I still believe there's something to it. I don't know what exactly, but I think that it's slightly more to it than we think and than what we know. Or, sorry, than what we think we know and what we're told. But then I think it's been exaggerated as well. So, anyway, it's very interesting. Now, excuse me, I'm going to talk about the Antichrist. He's got to be a child. He would have to be of the descendant of Lilith and Cain on his mother's side. And I think he needs to be a descendant of a fallen angel, or she, on the father's side. Because on Jesus, when he was born of the Hebrew bloodline, or David's bloodline, and on his mother's side, and then God on his father's side. So the opposite of that would be to be of the clan of Esau, or of Cain, which I know are two different bloodlines, but not 100%, because Cain was the son of Adam. Noah was the, I believe, great grandson of Adam. So Shem was just of Adam, but also Cain was Adam's bloodline. So we're related no matter what. The bloodline's still there. The spirit of that bloodline is still in there. The Cain spirit is still within the human DNA because it came from Adam, so it has to be. Now, so the Antichrist should be opposite of Jesus. So opposite of Jesus is a woman, number one. And that's why God says don't let women be the ruler, because it's a warning. Once you get female leads, it's not that they're going to be bad leaders. It's not all of them, but it's that in the end time, it's a woman that leads us wrong. So if we can just avoid all woman leadership, then we'll avoid that kind of thing. But everything in the Bible is written so only the elect can truly understand it. I don't know why I didn't put that out. Or do I not know why I lit it? So the Antichrist needs to be a female. It needs to be of the opposite bloodline of David, which would be Esau, because it went Abraham. He had a son named Isaac. Isaac had twin sons named Jacob and Esau, and they were the opposite of one another. And it's Jacob and Esau that are still fighting over the world to this day. So the Antichrist needs to be of that bloodline as far as its mother. Now, its father is going to be a fallen angel, which will make it a Nephilim. Excuse me. So the opposite of Christ. That's it. That is the opposite of Christ. That would be a full pinnacle of the opposite of Christ, I think. Now, the other option for its mother would be Lilith, or Lilith's bloodline. So that would be a very clear option, or a very unclear option, because who knows who the children of Lilith are? Who knows where that bloodline went? Nobody. We know it's here. And that could explain how some people seem like they're NPCs or whatever. They don't seem like they're all together. I used to think that was probably because of a disconnection to your soul by brainwashing, through brainwashing, sorry. But I think that could also be that you don't have the soul. In the same way, at least. You have the soul of Lilith, which shouldn't be an NPC, really. I don't know, though, because some people, it just, no matter what you do, what you say, how much evidence you have, whatever, they just can't grasp or Um, they can't get themselves outside of the box. They can't feel the same way about small things in life and stuff. It just, I don't know. And then they can't seem to make conscious decision for themselves. But again, I think that a lot of that's just the brainwashing. We're trained to not be able to um, think critically. Those little birds are pretty, whenever they are. Anyways, guys, I'm going to let you go. God bless. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell me your thoughts if you have any. I'd love to hear them. And have a God blessed day. I know you will. Amen.